The security checkpoint at Station Epsilon 7 was designed to catch everything: contraband weapons, illegal tech, biological hazards. The Galactic Coalition had spent centuries perfecting their screening protocols. Nothing escaped the sensors. Nothing bypassed the guards, or so they believed. Juno stood in the inspection queue with the practiced patience of someone who had done this 100 times before. The human wore a simple gray hoodie, cargo pants, and worn boots, standard fare for a freelance cargo runner. Around them, a dozen species shuffled through the checkpoint, Chitinus vexthari clicking their mandibles in irritation, gelatinous ulmari rippling with anxiety, and tall, statuesque Kelvorians maintaining their characteristic stoic silence. "Next," barked the lead guard, a Thraxian whose four eyes swept the checkpoint with mechanical precision. Their species had evolved specifically for security work: multiple visual spectrums, keen olfactory sensors, and an almost pathological dedication to protocol. Juno stepped forward, offering their identification chip. The Thraxian scanner hummed as it read the data. "Juno Reeves, human, freelance transport." The guard's eyes narrowed, all four of them. "Purpose of visit to Epsilon 7? "Fuel stop and resupply," Juno replied evenly, heading to the outer colonies. "Stand for bioscan." Juno raised their arms as the scanning array descended from the ceiling. Blue light washed over the human's body, analyzing everything from bone density to chemical composition. The machine pinged its completion, and the Thraxians studied the readout with growing suspicion. "Elevated heart rate," the guard observed. "Unusual thermal readings around your torso. Step aside for secondary inspection." Two additional guards approached, a hulking crowbar with arms like steel beams, and a delicate whisper whose telepathic abilities made lying nearly impossible in their presence. "Empty your pockets," the Thraxian commanded. Juno complied, placing a handful of items on the inspection tray: a datapad, a multi-tool, protein bars, and a worn photograph of Earth. The whisper's ethereal form shimmered as it scanned Juno's surface thoughts, searching for deception. "The human is nervous," the whisper reported in their musical voice, "but I sense no hostile intent." "Thermal anomaly persists," the Thraxian insisted, pointing their scanner at Juno's midsection. "Remove the outer garment." Juno's hand moved instinctively to the hoodie's hem, then paused. "Is that really necessary?" The scan showed I'm not carrying weapons. "Regulation 7 Alpha," the crowbar growled, cracking his knuckles with sounds like breaking concrete. "Anomalous readings require visual confirmation. Remove now." Around the checkpoint, other travelers had stopped to watch. Some species considered such confrontations entertainment. Others simply wanted to see a human in trouble. Humanity's reputation for bending rules was legendary across the coalition. Juno sighed and began to lift the hoodie. As the fabric rose, the Thraxian's four eyes widened in sequence. Inside the hoodie's oversized pocket, curled against Juno's stomach, were three small creatures. They had plush fur in shades of cream and brown, tiny ears that twitched in sleep, and paws no bigger than human thumbs. The smallest one yawned, revealing teeth like rice grains, then burrowed deeper into the fabric. "What?" the Thraxian said slowly. "Are those?" "Kittens," Juno answered, carefully lowering the hoodie back down. "Earth felines, Felis catus specifically." The crowbar leaned closer, his massive head tilting with confusion. In his culture, young were raised communally in fortified nurseries, protected by warriors. The concept of carrying helpless infants in one's clothing was utterly alien. "You're transporting live animals without proper containment?" The Thraxian's voice rose an octave. "That's a Class 3 violation. Where are the environmental controls, the safety protocols, the certified carriers?" "They're not cargo," Juno said firmly. "They're my companions. I rescued them from a derelict ship near the Helix Nebula. Their mother didn't make it." The boldest of the three kittens, the one Juno had named Miro, chose that moment to poke his head out of the hoodie pocket. His blue eyes blinked sleepily at the assembled guards, and he made a sound somewhere between a squeak and a chirp. The whisper gasped, their form rippling with unexpected emotion. Such innocence, such trust. They floated closer, utterly entranced. I can feel their contentment. They believe the human is their parent. Irrelevant, the Thraxian snapped, though even their multiple eyes couldn't seem to look away from Miro's tiny face. Regulations state that all biological specimens must be properly documented and… Miro yawned again, stretching one impossibly small paw out of the pocket. The kitten's claws, barely sharp enough to scratch synthetic fabric, extended and retracted in a gesture that evolution had designed to be endearing across countless species. The Crovar, a warrior whose people glorified strength and discipline, made a sound that no one in the checkpoint had ever heard him produce before. It was almost a coo. They can't go in a carrier, Juno explained, gently stroking Miro's head with one finger. They're too young. They need constant body heat and physical contact, or they'll die. Kittens this age shouldn't be away from their mother, but… The human's voice caught. Since I'm all they have, I have to keep them close. The Thraxian guard looked down at their scanner, then at the kittens, then back at the scanner. Their entire career had been built on following protocols. Rules existed for reasons. Order prevented chaos. But as the second kitten stirred and nuzzled against Juno's stomach through the fabric, something in the guard's expression shifted. Human medical necessity, the whisper suggested softly. Emotional support animals, technically permitted under Coalition Health Statute 42C. That statute refers to registered therapy animals for psychological treatment, the Thraxian protested weakly. Have you ever lost your entire family and been left alone in the void? Juno asked quietly. Because that's what happened to them. And if providing warmth and comfort helps them survive, then yes, this is medical necessity. The third kitten, the smallest, began to purr. The sound was barely audible, but in the tense silence of the checkpoint, it resonated like a song. The Crover cleared his throat. Perhaps we could classify this as emergency foster care. Humans have been approved for cross-species empathy programs. That's not… The Thraxian started, but stopped when Miro locked eyes with them. The kitten's gaze held no fear, no calculation, only the simple trust of a creature too young to understand danger. The lead guard's shoulders sagged. 6 hours, they said finally. You have 6 hours to reach the veterinary section and obtain proper documentation. After that, if those creatures aren't registered, I'll personally see you ejected from this station. Understood? Juno smiled, carefully adjusting the hoodie to ensure the kittens were secure. Understood. Thank you. As the human walked through the checkpoint, the three kittens nestled peacefully against their warmth. Juno heard the whisper's voice drift behind them. Humans are so strange. They find broken things in the darkness and carry them home. The Crovar's rumbling laugh followed. That's not strange, friend. That's what makes them dangerous and magnificent. Juno didn't look back, but smiled wider. In a galaxy full of rules and regulations, protocols and procedures, sometimes the most revolutionary act was simply caring when no one expected you to. The kittens slept on, dreaming whatever dreams tiny creatures have, safe in the knowledge that their human would keep them warm.